You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Let's talk about Back to the Future, the musical. It's now in Los Angeles. In fact, through December 1st at the Hollywood Pantages Theater and at the Segerstrom Theater, December 26th through January 5th. Joining me right now is Cartreze Tucker, who you will see as both Mayor Goldie Wilson and Marvin Berry. Cartreze, so nice to meet you. How you doing tonight?
I'm so happy to be here. I'm doing fantastic. Better now.
All right. I know I'm a little bit older than you. I won't say how much, but I'm a little bit older than you. I saw Back to the Future, the movie, in theaters as a kid. That means 1985. It's legendary. Oh, don't say that. Don't say, oh, wow. You're going to get me like self-conscious. But I say that to say it's legendary in a cinematic sense. That's why we get to talk about it in the form of a musical today. My question is, when did you first come across anything Back to the Future?
Well, I never saw it in the movie theaters, but I've seen it so many times as a child. I feel like it's always on television. When I was a kid, it ran all the time. So I've seen it 1,000,001 times. And since, like I told you, I am from Atlanta, so Florida is like a skip and a hop away from Georgia. So we would go to Florida for a summer vacation, and I rode the ride, the Back to the Future, the ride at Universal when I was a kid.
When you were riding the ride or you were watching the movie, did you feel as if the movie was dated, or what is it about the universality of that movie that speaks to so many people? Maybe that's the better question.
Well, I just think the writing is so good. The writing is so good. The performances are so good. Crispin Glover as George McFly is perfection. There's nothing like it. I just think the writing and the characters and the story, it's just like, it's good writing. It's heralded as one of the best screenplays, actually, in some circles.
It's not a musical, but the soundtrack makes it feel like a musical. And I think that's part of the reason why it lends itself so well to be converted to a musical. What do you notice about being in Back to the Future, the musical, and how that is the same or different from the movie, which you're already very familiar with?
In terms of the story, it's like, I would say it's 99.9% the same. It's everything you know, it's everything you love. We hit all the beats. There are subtle changes for the times, obviously. But in terms of music, most of it's all original music, written by Grammy Award winner Glenn Ballard, who wrote Man in the Mirror for Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's all original music. And then we do have everyone's favorite songs as well from the movie, like Johnny Be Good, Power of Love, Back in Time. Those are all there too. So you can't do Back to the Future, the musical, without those tunes.
I've had the opportunity, and I would say privilege, to interview and dialogue a few times with the actor Donald Fullerlove, who played who played Goldie Wilson. What is it like seeing that role and then playing that role?
Well, it's so funny. I met him for the first time, Donald, just this week, actually, because I also played Marvin Berry, who's played by one of my favorite humans on the planet, Harry Waters Jr. So I've had the pleasure of meeting them both. And they are the loveliest humans you would ever meet. I will say that. Just two of the most loveliest people. So it's so surreal to like see these people, these characters that you know from the movie, and just see them in real life is actually so surreal. And see them as humans and not as these characters.
Was there any weight? Was there any burden? Because when I see the character named Marvin Berry, I instantly say, it's your cousin Marvin. Marvin Berry.
John, it's Marvin. Your cousin Marvin Berry. You know that new sound you're looking for? Well, listen to this.
Yeah, it is. It is so funny because I have the sole responsibility to play both of the Black characters in the show.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
That is my sole responsibility. So I guess it is weighted to do these two actors who played these parts in the movie justice. So there is that weight. And it was so great to meet them both and get their stamp of approval. So I was like, thank goodness I've done my job. You guys approve. It is, yeah. So that was really fun.
One thing, since you went there, I'm going to go right there with you. One thing I appreciated about the movie, it's set, obviously, in the 1980s, and they go back to the 1950s, but it showed a realistic version of America in the 1950s. Didn't shy away from it, acknowledged it, but it was respectfully done. And it's almost like you can't find that in movies today, almost.
Right. And we also touch, I mean, because we do pretty much all the beats in the movie are in the musical, and we do touch on that in the musical as well. The subtle social commentary about race, about Goldie basically being a diner worker, and then his boss being like, "Oh, you'll never be mayor." And what does he say? A colored mayor. Yeah, that'll be the day. So we do touch on all of those things, and even more so because it's a musical. I have an entire song called "Gotta Start Somewhere" about perseverance. It is like you have to push through. Yes, I might be at the bottom now, but you have to start somewhere. And by the end of the song, you're like, Goldie has realized that, yes, I can make it. I can be on top despite what what society has told me.
Take me back to Atlanta real quick. I've seen you sing. I know you can warble. I know you can blow. I listened to you sing a little Aretha Franklin. What are some of your influences? What are some of your influencers when it comes to music?
Oh, music. Well, I grew up listening. My grandmother loved all the pop R&B divas of the 90s. So Aretha Franklin, Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Dionne Warwick. I think those are like my youngest musical influences, thanks to my grandmother, because that's what she listened to, and I hung around her all the time. Luther Vandross. So these are all the things that I listened to as a child. So I think I have honed and I pay homage to all these people whenever I perform or whenever I sing. Ain't no way for me to love you if you won't let me. I know it's a woman's duty to help and love a man, and that's the way it was planned.
My guest right now is Cartreze Tucker. We're talking about Back to the Future, the musical, which is now on stage in Los Angeles. In fact, through December 1st at the Hollywood Pantages Theater and at the Segerstrom Theater for the Arts, December 26th through January 5th. We'll have more in just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And we are going back to the past, if you will, as we talk about Back to the Future, the musical, now in Los Angeles. In fact, it's on stage. You can catch it at the Hollywood Pantages Theater through December 1st. And then it moves on to the Segerstrom Theater December 26th, right after Christmas, through January 5th. And my guest right now is Cartreze Tucker as we talk about his roles, plural, as both Mayor Goldie Wilson and Marvin Berry. And Cartreze, I'm sorry, I had to go there. I just love the movie. And by extension, I have not seen the musical. I know that I will love the musical. So set the stage, pun intended, for me or anyone else who will happen to see this at the Pantages or Segerstrom Theater. What should we expect?
You should expect a giant stinking spectacle. It is a big, shiny, flashy musical. My mother saw it for the first time in Vegas a couple weeks ago, and she is not a theater person at all. My mother, who just turned, she wouldn't want me to say her age, but she's older. And firstly, she loved it. She loved it. And the first thing she told me was, "Wow, yeah, that's a lot of money up there." So that's what it's a big, flashy spectacle. It's high energy singing, it's fierce, high energy dancing, it's fierce singing, it's funny acting. It is a monster of a show.
As you research a role, or in this case, two roles, as you may have rewatched the movie, did you do any type of study of just the 1980s. For me, of course, I remember it like it was yesterday. You, not so much. Did you have to find that you needed to look up just that time period to better understand Marty McFly or Doc Brown at that point in time? Like, talking about terrorists or going to a mall.
No, I did not. I'm a child of the 90s. So I feel like everything I consumed as a child or in my early childhood was mostly 80s content.
Mm-hmm.
Like Back to the Future, The Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, like all these movies that were popular in the 80s. I've seen them all. So I feel like I did not have to do much research because it was ingrained in my DNA. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Every popular 80s film I've seen. So that I feel like I did not have to do research on the 80s. And I feel like it's also like the easiest era for people to harken back to because I feel like it was so specific in terms of style and dress and culture that it is, I feel like I was in the 80s at this point.
You know what? Seeing how I lived through it, I have to say you are correct. From clothing styles to music to social norms, probably the most distinct decade of my life. And I've seen more than a few decades, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But when you're getting on stage and you're singing these songs, I know you can feel the audience. Maybe at times you get to sneak a glance at the audience, or maybe you can break the fourth wall. What is it you're seeing? What type of responses are you getting from the crowd?
Well, I have the pleasure of having, I want to say the one of the high energy numbers. I call it the showstopper number. And it's always fun to have people just randomly applaud mid-song for me. That's my favorite part. But I think it's a show that really needs audience interaction. It drives on the audience also being a part of the thing. The show is very funny. It doesn't take itself serious at all. So we as actors on the stage love when audiences are vocal, when they cheer, when they clap, we love all that things because we need that up there because we're doing some pretty outlandish things on the stage. So we love a response. So don't hold back. If you want to laugh as loud as you want, clap as loud as you want, like really engage with us on the stage. And that's what we enjoy in this show. That's what we enjoy.
You termed this show as a monster, as a compliment. And I hear the set design is second to none. Tell me more about the elaborate nature of this production.
Well, it is a monster. Like I say, it's a giant, shiny spectacle. The lighting design was nominated for a Tony. So everything that they're on Broadway, whatever they're doing on Broadway, we packed it up into a truck and we bring it to every city. So whatever they're doing on Broadway, we're doing. And I wish I could tell you more, but I can't. I simply cannot. You just have to come witness it for yourself. It's a feast for the senses. It is a visual masterpiece, I will say. Stuff that they're doing is mind-blowing.
I can't wait. I hope to get there to see Back to the Future, the musical, which is now on stage through December 1st at the Hollywood Pantages Theater. And you can then find it just after Christmas on December 26th through January 5th at the Segerstrom Theater for the Arts in Costa Mesa. My guest has been Cartreze Tucker, who you'll be able to see as both Mayor Goldie Wilson and Marvin Berry. Cartreze Tucker, this is our first meeting. It's a pleasure to meet you and learn more about you. And I appreciate what you're doing, keeping the theater arts and musicals alive for another generation. I'm encouraged by you. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, sir.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI Mo Kelly live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. And last week we talked about the approaching premiere, at least the cinematic premiere, of the movie version of Wicked. I saw it at the Segerstrom Theater. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved it. But there's always a question whether a musical transfers well to the silver screen. But people will get to make their own determination in the coming days. But there are a lot of Wicked fans out there, and I would count myself as one of them. But I'm not a super fan. People are attending the various premieres, and they are dyeing themselves green. like She-Hulk green. The only problem is some people are using dyes which are almost turning into permanent tattoos, and it's not going to wear off for possibly weeks or months at a time. And there's an influencer on TikTok who is known pretty well. Her username is Lulu Orange, and she is complaining and possibly thinking about suing because she dyed her skin deep green, and it's now not going away. And to make bad matters worse, she didn't get into the LA premiere. After all that, didn't even get to see the movie. Now, I don't know about you. I would never, ever dye my skin for anything. Definitely not for a movie. It'll be a whole lot easier just to use some paint and maybe just do your face and arms. But if you look at her TikTok page, she did her whole damn body. And she shows herself shopping and upset at a grocery store because she cannot get rid of this green dye. Oh, but wait, it gets worse. As it turns out, the dye that she used was recalled by the manufacturer for, quote, producing permanent or otherwise excessively long-lasting results. And according to what I've read from doctors are saying that if your skin ever does return to normal, it's not a guarantee, it won't be until all of the cells have regenerated. You just have to go on about life. And regeneration of cells could take up to years. I don't know if I should be sad for the person or not.
You should be happy for the person, Mo, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
As you know, I am a glass half full person. If she goes to Star Trek conventions, she'll be stopped for selfies day and night.
If she went to a Guardians of the Galaxy convention, she would be Gamora. If she went to D23, she could be She-Hulk. Yeah, there could be an upside to it, but the days in between when you're trying to like live your life and go just anywhere around town, unless your life is going to be as cosplayer of the year, I don't see any real upside. Now, she's going to obviously sue. She should sue and get whatever money she can for.
Wait. She should sue who? I'm not reading in this where she was either told by anyone having to do with the film company to dye herself, nor was I able to find anywhere in the story where she was encouraged to buy this specific color of dye. She did this all on her own because she's a super fan. So this is her thing. Who is she suing herself?
Here's the thing. You can sue anyone for anything, and large companies would rather pay you to go away than worry about going through the litigation and trying to determine that she somehow used the product incorrectly. If it's already been determined that the product had been pulled from the shelves, that it was dangerous, and she used the product correctly and it was pulled after she purchased it, I think she has a case.
I don't know, because she's real sketch on how she got a hold of this dye. She is a TikToker, and chances are she found her truth. She found the facts about using this probably on social media, which I don't know, maybe Mark, Foosh, maybe one of you know, but I don't think social media is a place where you go for facts on things that have a chemical reaction with your skin.
Oh, come on. People go to social media for vaccines. People go to social media to figure out the world is flat. Why would they not go to social media for anything and everything?
Look, I get it. Social media said that if you do chug a spoonful of cinnamon for a challenge, you may be all right. Unfortunately, several young people found out the hard way. No, you will not. No, you will not be okay. As did the Tide Pod Challenge kids. All I'm saying is I'm trying to figure out, is she suing herself for stupidity? Like, I am submitting a case against myself for being stupid enough to not just, as you said, just paint your arms and face green and put on an outfit.
You mentioned Tide Pods, right?
Yes.
Procter & Gamble faced a bunch of lawsuits regarding the Tide Pod challenges. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying
I got you.
You know, anyone can get sued for just about any reason, even when the company is not quote unquote at fault for the user's incorrect use or just blatant stupidity. It happens all the time.
If I was the company responsible for this green dye, I would sue this person till they had nothing, not even their TikTok username. I would sue the life out of them for defamation, for irresponsibly using my product. I would sue her until she just said, you know what? I give up.
This coming from the autonomous vehicle guy.
There is that, yes.
You don't hear the hypocrisy in that argument?
To do with why are you bringing up? This has nothing to do with it.
Because
Can she sue the color green?
no, because that's public domain.
You know what?
I see.
She might as well sue Dr. Seuss. I mean, she's just going
He's
down
dead.
the line, just suing, sue the family of Dr. Seuss because they wrote, or they have these books still on the
You
shelves.
talking about green eggs and ham?
Yes, they have not pulled the books. And you know what? Because of that book, they probably inspired this Ejot, to go.
What's Ejot?
Ejot. Or as they say in America, idiot.
I am Sam. I am Sam. Sam, I am. Would you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them. Sam, I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam, I am. Steph, I am. Mark, I am. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. Why you got to bring Dr. Seuss into this?
I don't like people who do stupid things that are beyond reason. And then they get what they were looking for. She played a stupid game and she won a very stupid prize. And now she wants to be mad at the prize? No. You wear that prize to Whole Foods and let your dog go into the food section and urinate. You do whatever you got to do, but you are an idiot.
Not in a box, not with a fox, not with Botox, not in a house, not with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. I would not eat green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam, I am. I think I had that book as a kid. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did.
You know what? Another thing, I'm thinking to myself, if this young lady is an actual TikTok user and has done videos and all this, she probably did her TikTok research and should have known better. She should have known better. There is no one in their right mind who is dyeing their skin to go to a screen. And
Tuwali, yes, they are. You know that people will do anything.
You know, and here's the thing. She didn't even have tickets to go. Well, she was just hoping they would see her and say, you get to come on in.
Just because you're an idiot, just because you're dumb, doesn't mean that you can't successfully sue some sort of big corporation and win.
This is insanity.
Louisa Melcher. She has 690,000 followers on TikTok. She has some people behind her. Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at what the people behind her are saying. They're not saying anything different
clowning.
from what I'm saying.
No, they are clowning. All I'm saying is I've seen people with less of a case, going back to your own reference to Tide Pods. People sued and they got paid. Undisclosed amounts.
Well, Tide Pods look delicious. Let's be honest.
They were tasty looking.
I would not eat them in a house. I would not eat them with a mouse. I would not eat them with a box. I would not eat them with Botox. Is that one of the words?
I don't think Dr. Seuss had access to Botox. Do you?
I don't know. He was kind of a rich dude.
Really and truly, if she was smart, she would flip this and she would take all of your advice about going the con route, showing up and charging people to take pictures of her as Elphaba, take pictures of her as Gamora, take pictures of her as She-Hulk, take pictures of her as a green Star Trek girl.
Orion slave girl. Let's get the terminology right.
As an Orion
That
slave
is
girl.
politically incorrect in 2024. It's Orion indentured servant person.
Not
Even in a
California.
different galaxy, we have to.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
All right.
not in California. They did not outlaw slavery in California.
Oh yeah, she's
That is true.
The Orion prisoner girl. She's forced to fight fires
It's a
for
woman.
pennies
Why
a day.
are you trying to diminish her womanhood? It's not a girl.
Would you say that to Captain Kirk? I think not.
Well, at least I've interviewed him twice.
Look at the time.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Before we get out of here, we have to talk about the second portion of the final season of Cobra Kai. I love all things Karate Kid. Every movie, every season of the TV show, everything. I even like the next Karate Kid, where they had Hilary Swank. I love everything Karate Kid, and I love everything Cobra Kai, just in case you didn't know, because they've told us what has happened to every major and even some minor characters in the series. Every single one, with the exception of Hilary Swank, I'm still holding out hope. Every single one, from the bad boy Mike Barnes to obviously Terry Silver to Chosen and Kumiko, all of them. The latest portion of the 3-part final season dropped on Friday the 15th. I spent all day today leading up to it. They're like 5 episodes, I think.
Yeah, I think it's about 5, yep.
In the second portion of the season. So we're 2/3 of the way through the final season. I can say this, and I say this with love. They've run out of stories to tell. I don't want to give away too many specifics because you may want to see it. There are some reveals. There are some exploratory scenes with Miyagi's background. Not going to say anything more than that. And that has been prominently featured in this last season. But I get the sense that they just don't have much to tell anymore. And I think this is a fitting time to end this particular show. Now, the last episode for the season, it was wow. Just say that. It was wow. There was a lot going on in it. I will also say this, and this is an actual critique. None of the main cast comes off as credible as martial artists. It hasn't gotten any better, and I think they're just going the campy route because none of them, and they're the villains, the people that are opposing them, they're all legitimate martial artists. There's no doubt. If you know any of the actors and follow their careers, they are all legit. The stuff they're doing with the flying and spinning kicks and everything, no, they are legit. And you look at, Miyagi-Do karate, and it's just not believable. So I just have to suspend my disbelief and imagine that these are all like Daniel LaRusso. They have 3 months of karate and they can beat anyone.
I watched this most recent mini portion of the grand finale of Cobra Kai, and I said to myself, this is what happens when you put the karate that we've been seeing thus far up against martial artists, because they're in this grand tournament, and instead of them hiring other faux martial artists who are maybe television martial artists, they put in some people who aren't necessarily actors or actresses, but actually martial artists. And it makes the martial arts we've been seeing thus far look funny. And it got really, really bad. The fight sequences with Ralph Macchio, that whole thing that happened with him, I said to myself, if you don't
little
stop,
detour,
I said,
yes.
If you don't stop right now, that the fight sequences there's this culmination, which you really have to say, okay, you know what?
They said F it.
They just said F it. They said, damn that shark. We're jumping all the way over it. Bring out the tank. Get on the motorcycle. We're going over that shark. Cause man, they said, I watched that. I watched that in literal disbelief. Like some of the people in the show were watching it. I'm like, I don't believe what I'm watching right now.
I will say this, and this is a mini spoiler. There is this thing which happens in the final episode, and it's being televised. And for some reason, they never cut the feed. And even when they did cut the feed, I said to myself, why now?
Now? And not only that, you're the only one that can cut I said to myself, not only that, I don't know why this event was televised. Look, I don't want to give away too much. Look, I had fun watching it, but it took me back to a lot of the silliness of Cobra Kai, the silliness of the idea of Daniel studying, karate for 2.5 months and going on beating the All Valley champion, someone who had been the All Valley champion for umpteenth number of years, who is a legitimate certified black belt. You spend a summer learning, and you beat this individual.
No, it was a fall because it was the new school year.
Oh, yes, it was. Yeah,
school
Halloween, yes. Even worse, because that's even less time. Okay, so I had to go back to that. I said, Twala, remember, this is hailing from the film that said over from, October to November. Daniel.
The tournament was in December.
Yeah, Daniel, that's what I'm saying, October through November, Daniel learned karate. Because remember, it started and he got into karate right after Halloween. So it's not even really October.
That's right. It's November.
November.
That's right. Because that's when Miyagi beat the asses of all the Cobra Kai.
After the Halloween party. So it was all of November he studied and went and beat not just the All Valley champion, but beat every black belt that stepped on that mat within 1 month of training. So I said, Twala, remember that this is not real. So just have fun watching it. And I had a lot of fun.
I remember the movie Best of the Best with Eric Roberts and Philip Ray.
I remember that.
I enjoyed the movie, but it was very obvious that Eric Roberts didn't know jack about anything martial arts. He was doing like elbow strikes and knee kicks as minimal as possible. I felt like I was watching that, but the whole cast, you would think after 3 or 4 years of training, presumably they would be passable. They're not passable. They're just not. No. And I'm just enjoying it as an homage to all the great things of Karate Kid. And they're trying to tie this up. And they basically said, we're just going to make it just a cornucopia of stuff on screen. There's so many competing storylines. I mean, so many.
Yeah.
Every main character has a storyline. Every single one. You think, how can they do that in 5 episodes? Exactly. Every single character has a storyline and thread, which is throughout all of the episodes. Everybody has a love interest. Everybody. It's like, damn.
Yeah. And it's in Spain.
Right. The martial arts capital of the world.
With hardly a lick of Spanish spoken the entire episode.
No, there's only broken Spanish spoken by English-speaking people.
Yeah, which was odd for me to watch. I'm like, so no one? What am I watching?
Except the guy who was the official photographer. He would say, all right, say Barcelona. Barcelona.
Oh, and the cab driver.
Yeah, the cab driver too, yeah. I mean, it's not, look, Cobra Kai is not bringing their best. Let me put it that way.
Don't you feel like it's really scratched your nostalgia itch plenty at this point?
That's right. It is fine. It's the perfect time to end the show.
I mean, you never watched the show for martial arts in the first place. It was on at my place in the long suffering one. I wasn't paying attention. And she's like, well, I would think you'd be into this. You like martial arts. And I'm like, none of these people
not martial arts.
It's all hyper edited people who have been choreographed to within an inch of their lives. This isn't martial arts.
It's bad choreography, too.
Yeah, and yet you guys give this a pass, but not Kung Fu. Shame on both of you. Shame.
No, but you take Kung Fu as like a serious TV show.
Oh, I do. It's profound and beautiful.
This is not a serious TV show. It is campy in every way.
You watch Kung Fu like it's a documentary or something.
I found a place this weekend that shows Kung Fu, and I was all over it. You better believe it. And it's 100 times better of a show than Cobra Kai. Grasshoppers.
So would you say that really every character has a storyline?
Every single one.
What do you mean everyone?
KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You can listen to KFI everywhere, like you haven't noticed.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.